My tech goal for 2017-2018 was flipped learning, using the websites Nearpod and Screencast-O-Matic. So what is flipped learning and why would you want to try it in your classroom? Many educators refer to flipped learning as schoolwork at home and homework at school. In the flipped learning model, passive learning activities such as listening to lectures and taking notes are relegated to after-school hours. This frees up class time for more active exercises usually reserved for homework, such as independent practice, remediation, and extended learning projects. By shifting direct instruction from the group setting to the individual, we create more opportunities for students to access the guidance and resources they need to learn and succeed. So what are the concrete benefits to adopting flipped learning? It could mean more time working one-on-one with students, more opportunities for intervention. Flipped learning also fosters student ownership by creating space and opportunity for reflection, questioning, and peer-to-peer feedback. Flipped learning also eliminates the need for a one-size-fits-all lesson, creating greater time and opportunity in class for differentiation through station work, small group reteaching, or peer tutoring. So you're interested in trying flipped learning, but not sure how to implement it in the classroom. Flipped learning sounds complicated, but through experience I've learned it can really be boiled down to 4 simple steps. Number 1, plan your lesson. 2, create your lesson. 3, record. And then 4, assign and assess. So you're ready to start a flipped lesson. Step 1 is to plan it, and it looks just like regular lesson planning. You'll start with that typical question, what do you want your students to be able to do by the end of the lesson or unit? And you plan around that. Once you've decided what it is you want your students to learn and be able to do, you're ready to create your materials and activities. Just like planning for a regular lesson, you probably want to include some type of visual element. Good resources for visuals are Google Slide presentations, Keynotes, and Prezis, whichever one you prefer. You also might want to think about how students will interact with the material of the lesson and get practice for assessment. Nearpod is a great resource as Nearpod lessons come with built-in quizzes, polls, discussion boards. You also have your traditional Schoology assignments as options for giving students extra practice and interaction. So you've planned your lesson, you've created all of your materials. Now you're ready to deliver all of it to your students. So step 3 is to record. Record yourself teaching your lesson and deliver it to your students. When you're ready to record, you can use a combination of audio recording, webcam, and screen capture. Some great resources to keep in mind are Screencast-O-Matic, that's the website I use to create this recording, QuickTime, which a lot of teachers prefer, and also PhotoBooth. Once you've recorded your lesson or recorded yourself teaching, you're ready to assign the lesson to students and assess how they do. Nearpod is a really great resource for assigning independent lessons to students. It's one of my favorites because you can easily leave a link to the lesson on Schoology. There's no sign up necessary. Students don't have to create an account, so it saves you and them time. Also, all assessments are built into the lesson and automatically graded. So once you're ready, it's an easy one-to-one transfer of grades from Nearpod's website to your gradebook. Also, Nearpod has some really cool features that are interactive. You can build in polls and also discussion boards into your lesson. So even though students are working at home independently on their own devices, they can still be communicating with you and with each other. If you are really dedicated to Schoology, you can also work with the traditional Schoology assignments. Schoology also has the helpful student progress settings where you can monitor what and where and when your students are completing their assignments on Schoology. And if you like for your gradebooks to talk to each other, you can link Schoology directly to PowerSchool. So you've created your first flipped lesson, you've assigned it, you've assessed it, your students come to class. Now what? What do you do with your extra time? That's really up to you. You could use that time for guided or independent practice. You can use that time for extra intervention, enrichment, or a combination of all three. You think you're ready to try a flipped lesson? Let's review with a short quiz.